An airbrush spray that does not require a device. Wow, I am super intrigued. I don't know about you guys. So I am Cher, and I am going to be sharing with you today this new package that came in from Luminess Airbrush System, and we're going to be reviewing it. It is the new Airbrush Silk Foundation Spray that does not require a device. I am so curious. So if you follow me or have seen other videos by me before, you might know that I have already done a review on the Luminess airbrush system. I'm going to link the video for you. It was actually quite popular. I also have started using this line completely for all of my clients whenever I do airbrush. I am a professional makeup artist as well. And so now the company has reached out to me and offered to let me try this latest line. So I'm so excited. I'm so curious. So I'm going to be sharing this one with you today as well. If this interests you, make sure you continue on. Also, hit the like and subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss more like this in the future. I tend to do a lot of product reviews like this. I love to do makeup looks, behind the scenes as a professional makeup artist and building my kit, that kind of thing. And I also really love to do travel vlogs. So that's a little bit about me on my channel. And so we're going to get started. I have not even opened this, so I'm going to bring you along to unbox this box with me. And so I will tell you in my previous video, definitely check that one out. I was originally, I think it was probably about a year ago this time, I was originally trying out the Luminess system in general and giving my thoughts on it. At the time, I had only used airbrush while I was shadowing other people at their weddings and had kind of seen it in use before, but I had never done airbrush on my clients. Since then, I've had a full year of working with clients and have been using Luminess. I recently actually stocked up on all of the shades. So I had quite a few opinions in that old video. It actually did very well. That's actually probably my best performing video here on the channel. So obviously there's a lot of interest in Luminess. So we're going to bring you some more here. I was like, I definitely have to do a follow-up video with this one. So here is what they sent me inside. Now I did want to go ahead and give the disclaimer again. I am not obligated to do this video. However, you know, Luminess was just hoping that I would share my thoughts maybe on my Instagram page. You can follow me there, by the way. I'm at Cher Shares Beauty. But because this was so popular before when I did a YouTube, I was like, I am definitely doing another YouTube. Inside the box, this was so fancy, wasn't it? I love it. It's so beautiful. But inside it was all of this. And this was what was inside this time. So it's not, I'm not getting like the huge, big, full PR package from before, which is fine with me because I'm just excited to try this out. Okay, can we talk about how beautiful this is? So it comes like this in the box in this little container. And so I'm super intrigued. It says, you know, no device needed, but it's a spray, I suppose. See, I wasn't even sure what that would mean. Like, okay, what do we apply it with if we're not using a device? So we do have a brush, so we can probably blend it. Okay, and then an airbrush spray. So one is, it says airbrush spray silk foundation, satin finish, buildable coverage. Okay, so that's one of them. And then this one is, oh, this is the primer. Okay, airbrush primer, skin smoothing, long wearing, hydrating spray. So the primer and the foundation. I am actually really excited about this. So I have yet another video out there as well talking about the difference between airbrush foundation and traditional foundation. So if you want to know like what even is airbrush foundation, I kind of talk a little bit more about that in that video and what are the advantages of when you would choose airbrush over traditional. I go over this a lot of times with my brides all the time. That's what we talk about in our bridal trial. The first question I ask them is, are you going to want traditional foundation or airbrush? And a lot of them don't know, or they're on the fence, or they don't know if they should or not. And there are some people who are not really candidates for airbrush. However, a lot of the pros or a lot of the cons of airbrush is that it's a little harder to build up. It makes more of like a matte foundation. You know, if you have a problem spot and problem in your skin, it can sometimes be easier to use traditional foundation because you can kind of build it up with a brush and really work on that spot without having to come back over and do more passes over the face over and over again with airbrush. However, with this system, that may not apply anymore. So we're going to see. I'm kind of excited about this feature. Okay, so I've been reading the instructions and it's so easy. So what the whole method is, so before you had a device and the device sprays the airbrush and you kind of put it at your face and you go in circles all the way around the face, and then you can do a couple different rounds or whatever, but it's basically the device is spraying your face. So with this, no more device. We're going to spray it directly onto the brush and then apply the brush to our face. So nice concept. I mean, still probably is going to be that same formula of the airbrush formula, but we're able to apply it with a brush, which actually could help us kind of build up coverage and spread it around more evenly. So it's like the best of both worlds, the best of traditional foundation and airbrush foundation. So genius. I never even thought of this before. So anyway, we're going to get started. What I'm going to do is I have on makeup, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and wash off the foundation off of my face, the base off my face, and I'll just keep my eye makeup and all. This was a passionate subject, y'all. In my first video, some of y'all had an absolute hissy fit that I did not take off all my makeup and was using, testing out the system. Okay, message received. That was like my #1 comment. Like, okay, I get it. I will remove all the makeup. I really don't need to justify myself, but I am going to. I'm going to explain that I am a very busy special medical needs mom, okay? I only have a certain amount of time in the day to film videos, and I have to run and go pick up my kid from school, and I'm running from doctor's appointments to therapy appointments, and I am squeezing in videos as I can. Sometimes I cut corners, okay? I'm not gonna lie, because I am very, 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 very busy. I get it, everybody's busy, blah, 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 but I'm just going to tell you, really did not expect it to get 29,000 views on it, and it did. Might have been the eye makeup, but the eye makeup wasn't central to what I was testing. I don't think I even realized I was going to be doing eye makeup in that one because it was the airbrush system. And I think I still had like a little bit of eye makeup on. And it was literally like almost like having concealer on my eyes. It wasn't that much. And I just threw the eyeshadow on top of it to kind of get a feel for the colors. But like, okay, I get it. Y'all want me to have a super clean face. So I am going to get a super clean base face, okay? But I'm not taking everything else off because all we're testing out is the base. All right? All right. Does that make y'all happy? Okay. I will be right back. Okay. Y'all want to do the test? No makeup, no base, okay? Okay. Let's get started. So excited. So here is the primer. Doesn't matter which side of the brush is which. I'm going to assume maybe one side's for the primer, one side is for the foundation, but it doesn't really tell us. Let me see. Hold on a minute here. And let me read a few other things in here. It says notable ingredients formulated with essential skin loving ingredients, hydrolyzed silk for skin conditioning and smoothing, hyaluronic acid locks in moisture for plump skin, and aloe, soothing, moisturizing, and skin conditioning. All of these things are fabulous for mature skin too. I tend to recommend airbrush more for like my younger clients and save traditional for mature skin because sometimes airbrush can cause flaking on dry skin. But if it's got these great ingredients in it, this might be solving that issue too, you guys. So it sounds like it's almost being geared towards more and more universal skin than the regular traditional not traditional, but than the regular airbrush systems. Okay. It really just doesn't tell us. So I think I'm going to use this end for primer, because I see in the instructions they're using the foundation for this end. So that's what we're going to do. And they said shake it. And it even tells you on the top, press down. Oh, to break the seal, press down. Whoa, okay. Oh, I think it also said to hold it 3 inches away. So like that, maybe. Like that far from the brush. And I don't know how many squirts we do. Oh, and it says shake for 5 seconds. Whoops. Whoop, and it sprays everywhere if you do it that far away. All right, and then it also said to just start buffing on, like make buffing motions. So I'm buffing on the primer. I'm gonna bring it down into my neck too. Oh, and it has an interesting smell. It smells like a hair salon. That's the best way I know how to describe it. Okay, I can feel it. Not as wet, so we're gonna go with another round. I don't know how many sprays we do, so I'm just kind of randomly spraying. So see, you guys, I really am giving you like honest, because this is my first time ever using it. I'm trying to give you the first impressions, my honest reactions, so forth and so on. So the feeling of the primer, I really don't feel anything, to be honest. You know, you don't usually feel much with primer. I'm gonna touch my face. Okay, it feels smooth. It does feel smooth. It does not feel like my regular, like traditional primers to me though. Like I don't really even feel anything on my face. The only way I even know anything's on my face is by touching it, and it feels smooth. That is one thing about Airbrush. It has a very lightweight finish, so you barely feel it, you know. Very nice. Okay. I don't know if you can really see anything from looking here, but voila. Okay, so very nice, easy to apply. I would read off all of the ingredients, but a lot of them I can't pronounce. One thing about, and I mentioned this in my video too, that one thing about Airbrush is if you have very sensitive skin, it might not be for you. Just because Airbrush can be more, you know, kind of for like overall universal skin types, but they're not as customized as some traditional foundation can be. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing. I'm shaking this one up, hold it 3 inches away. Okay, and this one you can see does have, and I'm going to apply it to like my worst spots first. Okay, very nice. Just like traditional foundation is the application of it, at least. And I do these same buffing motions with my traditional. I don't know if they matched my skin tone. Yeah, I probably did. They only sent one shade here, so I need to look into the shades for you guys to see how they do the color matching on these. So with their regular system, I bought the little bottles, and it was like, I can't remember how many. I have at least 10 to 15 of theirs to make all different skin types for my, skin tones for my clients. So I need to look up how many shades of this there are and like how you pick your shades. So with their other system, it was like it was like 010, 020, 030, and the like the lower down numbers were the lightest and the higher up numbers were the darkest skin tones. They didn't really have it mapped out by Like they didn't have a lettering system that told you if it was like warm or cool or neutral. I just tend to like mix them. You can kind of tell if you go to their website, you can read about the shade matching, but I usually just grab like 2 or 3, hold it up to people's faces, and I kind of eyeball it to decide like how much I need to mix colors or not. And we go from there. That's how I usually do it with matching their skin type, but I'll need to research on this new one because I think I only have this one shade. What shade is this? So this is light medium 030. It's probably going to be the same system they have for the other bottles then, because I think I'm a 030 in the other one too. Very nice, guys. Look at that. Look at that finish. Wow. And I barely feel it on my face again. It feels a lot like the other system. Yeah. And the one thing that I really notice with their airbrush system is I really notice it in photography. When I take a picture of myself with traditional foundation on versus airbrush foundation, the airbrush just performs very well in the picture, in the photography. So, and that's one great positive about airbrush foundation is it is wonderful for photography. So anyway, I'm very impressed. I only did 1 round. So in the other system that I had where you're using the little device, you do different passes. You come back over the face depending on how much coverage you want. So if you want just a light coverage, you would only do 1 pass. If you want like medium, you could do 2 passes. And if you want it a lot more full, you could do 3 passes. I usually do at least 2 passes on my clients' faces because they're usually doing it for weddings and, you know, we need the coverage. So this didn't say, it doesn't really give the instructions on if you come back over it with multiple passes, but I'm thinking that, you know, you have this brush, you can kind of build it up similar to how you can traditionally. So you can just keep building it, keep spraying it, and in the spots that you want, like you could with traditional foundation. So it may not be that you do passes, you just build it to where you want it. So I kind of like it there. That looks great. Now, my worst spots are right here, and that's why I hit that one first, because I always I tap where I want the most coverage first. So I might come back over just that spot. We're going to see how it does. Like I said before, one of the cons of airbrush is if you have just one little spot that's a trouble spot, it's harder to blend over that trouble spot in the grand scheme of the whole face. Whereas you can do that with traditional. But since we have a brush now, we can do it the same way we could traditional. So I'm going to see how it works. I'm just going to kind of come back to that one spot. This is my trouble spot, and buff it out and see if we can build it up and get a little more coverage, but without getting it cakey and being able to blend it, and without having to come back over and do a whole nother pass. So similar. So see, I do feel like I would probably need to come back to this spot now. You see how it's a little darker here than here? I probably would come back over on this side of the face and balance it out. But I'm not having to like spray my whole face. I can still target, you know what I mean? And you can still kind of like, you have more control when you have a brush than you do with spraying your face. So that is another thing is when I'm doing weddings, it gets all in people's hair when it's more of the spray kind. So I have to put shower caps on everybody, especially people who are blonde or have like light gray hair. The foundation will like show all up. They will have a hairline of foundation. And it's really hard to keep it out of their hairline. So I usually put like a shower cap type thing on them first, which makes it very difficult with weddings. Or it's not difficult, but it's just you have to build that into your timeline and your agenda with the bride. We have to go over that because, you know, we're usually taking turns on hair and makeup. And so I try to I would love to do their makeup first, because if I got to put that cap on their head, I might mess up their hair that's already done. So we always try to pull in the people getting airbrush first with makeup, but a lot of times makeup takes longer than hair. So the hairdresser can get done with like 2 people in the amount of time I can get done with them sometimes. So it just causes like hiccups in the assembly of things. We have to get started very early and do their makeup first. The other thing too is I usually, if I'm doing traditional foundation, I always start with the eye area first and then I do the base later because of like the fallout. It's just the order I do things in. But if I'm doing their airbrush, I start with the airbrush first, because when you're spraying your face, it can get into your eyes and cover the makeup you just did in your eye area. You know what I mean? So it makes sense to do the airbrush first. In this case though, we wouldn't have to. I could still do things in the same order I do them traditionally. So these are all advantages of having the airbrush system in this form instead of in a device form. So I love it. I'm very excited about this. I kind of wish I had known, I guess the only con is that I wish I had known about this, that it was going to be out before I bought like their entire system and all the shades for the device that I have for all my clients. Because now I'm going to have to come stock back up on all of the shades of this. So anyway, all right. So what do you think? Let's look at it. I really like it. It's given a fabulous look, pretty similar to when you use the device. I think it's still given the same finish. I love it. I like it much better though than the device because of all these advantages that I mentioned. So what I'm going to do is off camera, I'm going to pop on my, just touch up like some little bronze or something, just so I'm not like all one white color here. And we'll go for like a finished look and wrap up. Okay, so I just kind of threw a little bit more on. Keep in mind, I did touch up my concealer and with a little powder in this area too. So this isn't really airbrush that you're seeing here. But this kind of just gives you an overall finished look of how I would probably just wear my makeup each day. Not really necessarily for like a wedding or formal, but this is just kind of my everyday look. So this gives you an idea. And this is so much easier, I think, for personal. So that's another pro of this, is that the device is much messier. You have to sit and clean it after use. Just, it's not something that I use for personal use each day because of the messiness factor. But with this, so much easier. I can sit this right on my makeup table and spray myself for foundation each day and just apply it with a brush, just like I do my other foundations. So such an advantage to be able to make this more personalized for people rather than for just makeup artists and weddings. But then you also can do it for weddings as well. So this is like revolutionary in my opinion. I think this is fabulous. So the last thing that I'm going to do, guys, basically I have nothing bad to say about this. That is my honest opinion. I am going to test it out and see how it wears throughout the day. I am putting this on at about 11 in the morning. So I'll see how it does tonight and I'll report back. I think that's something I didn't do in my other video. But I'm also going to leave you with one more thing, and that is I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to make a comparison of this finish versus what I started off with at the beginning of this makeup video, where I was wearing my traditional foundation. And so just so you can see photography wise how it looks in photography, if we see a difference or not. So and then you can get a feel for it that way. But overall, I think it's such a great idea. Love it so much. There's not a lot of cons to it other than if you have really sensitive skin, and if you're looking more for a glowy finish, like really luminous finish, then airbrush might not be the right, you know, look for you. As far as my skin type goes, I do have somewhat dry skin, but it's not like super dry. So I'm still like, I could still pull off airbrush. So it might be that I want to test this on somebody with very dry skin and see how it holds up as far as like the flakiness and all of that. Also people with facial hair, you know, if you have like picos or something where you got a little peach fuzz going on, airbrush can really amplify that. So that is something else I'd like to test with just using the brush and report back. So be on the lookout. I may add a couple things to this in a pin in the comments on like extra things that I can test like that, because I really just want to know how this performs versus your regular airbrush with a device. So okay, I think that wraps it up, you guys. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure you check out this video if you have not, on testing out the whole system, as well as another video on the difference between traditional and airbrush foundation and when you would use which one. Definitely must see videos if you're interested in this. So that takes care of it, and I will catch you on the next one.